Starting the recording. Hello everyone. This is once again a little bit of a side story, this time with Garius.
Greetings.
And Ramo is just here to listen in because he's curious.
Hi.
The little side story that is going to happen today is something that I think Garius has been looking forward to happen.
Oh, definitely. I am pumped.
So, yeah. Let me set the scene for you guys. Garius, you are holding a datapad in your hand, reading the latest reports from the front lines.
Yep.
And you are on your way to your quarters. Because you don't have a bedroom, I'll just call it quarters.
Or my office, whatever you want.
Yeah, your office. And as you are tapping through the reports, you reach your door, which slides open. And as you look up, because you hear a little... Oh no, let's just do this way. You hear a slight tapping sound as the door opens. Something like... Did you hear that?
Yep. Wait, so am I outside my room when I hear this, or inside when I hear this?
You're in the door frame. You're standing in the door.
I look around. I poke my head in. Hello, who's there? I recommend you show yourself.
No one's hiding, but you notice Pixie Cotton sitting on your chair with her hind legs on your desk and using the armrests kinda as like scratching toys.
Stop scratching my chair, and if you break my hollow desk, it's coming out of your pocket money, and you bet your flank I'll be telling your parents.
Ah, come on, don't be such a killjoy. I'm not breaking anything.
Except my chair, but that's easily replaced.
See?
So, what brings you here?
She jumps up and now stands on all fours on your desk. Stretching her neck to have a closer look at you. We are friends, right?
I believe so.
And I assume that friends help each other.
On occasion.
I've heard that you come from a dimension where the fifth is not yet defeated.
Yes, he's quite the handful. Too powerful to take down one-on-one. And my last time I tried to fight him, well, let's just say it was less than dignified how the fight ended. I was lucky enough to get out with my life, however, so I consider myself grateful.
And as you say that, she gives you a very toothy grin.
Please don't tell me you intend on fighting him. Do you remember the last time you tried to take on someone like that? I do believe you and Ramo summoned Barbara, and Ramo was sure his plan would work. Please tell me you're not following in your brother's wake.
Her ears flatten a little. She sits on her haunches and taps her paws together. Well, actually, that was my plan. Or something along those lines.
He has a very amused look on his face. It's like, I appreciate your willingness to help, and I would certainly be accepting of that help if I thought that one-on-one you could actually win. I mean, he's not multiple fifths combined, but he is a fifth combined with a Morphus, essentially. Which means he is quite strong. And he's not exactly a stranger to combat.
Well, neither am I, and I might have a surprise or two up my sleeve myself. But I also have something else to offer you.
What's that? He looks curious.
She places a paw on the wall next to your desk. And
Obviously looks.
A portal opens. On the other side, you see, like, this portal is as big as you.
I look into it.
On the other side, all you see is one ginormous eye filling out the entire portal.
It's his eye, isn't it? It's Black Shadow's eye.
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
It's a golden, glowing eye. Surrounded by purple fur.
And what, might I ask, is that?
Well, Auntie Lupina might not be very happy about this, but I have my own pack now.
Neat.
And those guys are big.
I can tell.
I mean, seriously big. The eye in the portal
wave
blinks.
To the eye. And, wow. How big exactly?
She presses a few buttons on your hollow desk, bringing up a little representation of you.
I'm not even going to ask how you got my password.
Ask Ramo. And then suddenly next to it appears the holographic representation of Lupine Arcane, and you barely reach up to its ankle.
Okay. Very, very big doggy then.
And through the portal you hear a gruff voice saying, "Me not doggy."
Would Canine Warrior suffice?
The eye just blinks in response.
Or Canine Titan? Looking at the picture. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you could give a full-on mechanical Titan a run for its money.
The eye in the portal is replaced by a very sharp and huge-looking row of teeth that gives you a distinct feeling of a grin.
Yeah, you could probably chew through most Titans.
Very, very likely.
So long as it wasn't guns down at a distance. Because I imagine that thing isn't exactly hard to hit.
You would actually be surprised how quick they are.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Only reason I didn't bring one over here is, well, and she gestures at the size of your room.
It wouldn't fit on my ship. Even in the cargo area, it would not fit.
Exactly.
Does your mother or father know that you have this pack?
Mama knows, and, well, I kinda hinted about it to Dad.
Oh dear. Well, you have an impressive pack, member. So what did you come here about, other than wanting to pick a fight with my fist?
Well, you see, these guys are easily bored. They need something to kill.
Nervous. Well, if you want to throw them at the front line, I would imagine they'd have plenty to kill.
What I need you to do is to basically go to your dimension with me and tell all of your mortal soldiers to retreat from the front lines.
That'll be hard because Elysium just gave me reinforcements and we're preparing for the largest offensive in history. So maybe we could have you be the front lines and we simply follow up behind.
The big problem about that is, Gary, is that these guys don't really discriminate between friend or foe.
We'll keep a very large distance.
I would advise it. And she presses a few more buttons on your holodesk, bringing up a picture of 3 huge canyons near Appaloosa.
Okay.
Let me guess,
I'm looking at it.
You don't know what you're looking at.
Not really. It looks like it's a part of Equestria, but I can't remember what part off the top of my head. I only went to Equestria on 2 occasions.
These 3 canyons that you see there are the claw marks of just one of these guys.
Wow. That's impressive.
Given medically enhanced claw marks, but you get the picture. And I would send about 250,000 of them over.
Oh, wow. Then very big distance, and I'm guessing these things are capable of teleportation, being Lupin Arcane.
Teleportation, dimensional travel, temporary living without oxygen for up to 24 hours, and an immensely impressive ability to regenerate injuries.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if you want to send them to my front lines, I would provide them with anything they might need. What would you ask for in return for this?
Just keep your soldiers out of the way, because they will likely eat anything that they come across. And I wouldn't want my people to eat your people.
I wouldn't like that either.
And
I'm guessing...
And I'm pretty sure that since your universe is waging war against your fifths, and she kind of flutters her eyebrows at you, like her eyelashes, like blink, blink, blink. I'm pretty sure that might, well, get your fifth's attention.
That it certainly would, but grabbing his attention is a risky business.
I have a plan.
Then you have my consent. I'm afraid to ask, but what is your plan?
She grins widely. Then, extends a paw, which then starts to glow, and a gem appears on said paw. A power that you thought only Script had. And you. And Silverstar.
I look at it.
I don't come unprepared, Garius. Daddy gave me a little something.
Well then, so long as you have an emergency retreat planned, just in case things get over your head, I'll do whatever I can.
She extends her other paw, and another gem appears, this one glowing green. The other one glowing red, by the way. This green one will immediately teleport me back here. No matter where I am.
Excellent. Then, is there anything you need of me for this plan? Or just my consent? I can open a portal to my universe if you require.
I will need you to help me.
You want me to fight alongside you, I'm guessing?
That too.
A look of dread is on his face. How many times must I tell people I'm not a soldier?
Look, it's really, really very, very easy. And she holds out the red gem to you. This gem isn't just any kind of gem. This is a pocket dimension. Can you follow me so far?
Yep.
We are talking one giant plane of nothing.
That makes him even more frightened. You do know nothing usually includes dark places, and that gives him home field advantage.
In terms of nothing, I mean, and she summons up a picture on your holodesk that simply shows a white plane going
white plane
going on in all directions with a white glowing sky.
That'd do it, if you can get him in it.
And that's where you come in.
I'm bait, aren't I?
Basically. But you're not only bait, because this pocket dimension has a little twist.
Oh?
You know that every dimension has its own rules, right?
Yeah.
In this dimension, there is no magic.
Huh. That would actually knock him down to practically helpless.
And I, when fighting, usually do not rely on my magic all that much. But as far as I know, you can throw a pretty good punch.
So long as I can utilize my magic to amplify my punch. Without my magic, I'm...
Don't forget your gauntlet.
Yeah, I know, but it wipes out magic, and it's literally using my magic to amplify my punch.
No,
which
not
means
your...
my gauntlet's gonna be...
Not your magic, your intelligence score.
I thought it was like, without my magic, my gauntlet is basically just a metal gauntlet, like my last one.
Mm-mm. The effect still stands.
Oh. So this will be a one-sided engagement then?
Also, magical artifacts are not affected by universes that have no magic.
Character, you made Pixie Cotton twice his level, and now you're basically making sure he can't use magic or his ability to hide. You could not be nerfing this fight more in your favor if you tried, and here I thought we were going to have an even fight. Just those two fighting in space. That's what I thought. But,
just telling you, Pixie gave this a lot of thought.
True.
And you do not think that this gem is everything that script gave her, do you?
Nope.
What do you think? What do you think he gave her?
Most likely another gem of some sort. Maybe one that would trap him in a jar, or some kind of force field generator or weapon. Okay, I have no idea. A book?
Can I have a guess?
Sure.
His power for the time?
Yes.
His power what?
Temporarily, script gave Pixie his power.
Oh. Oh, wow. Is that why she's level 20?
Yes.
I was wondering why a being that's multiple billions of years old has less level than a 2-year-old? 1-year-old?
Yeah,
A few months-year-old?
Basically, yes.
This is basically a billions-of-year-old god versus an infant, and apparently the infant has the upper hand. I'm like, wow.
So yeah,
Oh, dear.
she has script's powers for the time being. And even in a dimension without magic, you are still able to steal one's power. Because
Darius gives her one more look and goes, there's one big thing about your plan that you might not have thought through.
Go ahead.
I'm known to Black Shadow. If I just show up, he's gonna know I'm bait the moment I step on the battlefield. We've known each other and, well, negotiated with each other, for lack of a better term, for many, many years. He knows I would not challenge him, and he would not chase me anywhere.
You are not going to challenge him. You ask him for a truth.
A truce?
Mm-hmm.
We already have a truce. We found out about Cthulhu. I organised a truce because if Cthulhu comes to our world, I'd rather have him on my side than hers.
Fine. Then you want to negotiate further terms.
He made it perfectly clear that the moment Cthulhu's out of the way, the war's back on. So I don't think that's possible. He's very intent on kicking me off what he considers his land.
How about you just... What would happen if I tippy-toed on his land?
He'd probably meet you in battle or just observe you, depending on his mood.
Well, let me give you a hypothetical situation.
Sure.
He has an army, right?
Technically speaking, he has subordinates who has armies, but yes.
What would happen if one of the main planets suddenly went poof?
He'd probably either wonder where it went or not give a shit.
And then another.
he's probably sent one of his lackeys to go deal with it. And if they went poof, he'd just send several more. Thanks to a deal he has with Reaper, he's not allowed to take part in the war. Basically, if my world's version of Elysium doesn't take part in the war, he doesn't either. Which means that so long as it's just planets going poof, he can't do a thing. Unless he wants to pick a fight with Reaper, which he does not want to do.
Then I think I have just to ask him to come out.
Ask who? Well, if you attack him or threaten him, he is allowed to defend himself. But nothing more.
We will see. You also see a tiny shine of gold on Pixie's ear. As she moves her head.
You're wearing jewellery. If I recall, I think I've seen that jewellery on. Is it Lupina or your mother?
Both, actually. This one is Auntie Lupina's. But don't tell her, she doesn't exactly know.
My lips are sealed.
So, what do you say? Wanna have a go?
I'm going to regret this because your mother's going to kill me, but fine. Let's get this over with.
Alright. Also, I'll need to kinda know your dimensional coordinates so I can send my people over.
I typed down something on my wrist computer, which is on my power armor, and I sent her the coordinates. Would you actually, that's a point. You probably wouldn't want. Yeah. He sent the coordinates for deep enemy territory, not the front lines, because he still has men there.
Okay, deep enemy territory, so meaning like enemy fortresses.
More just beyond the front lines. Still within view of the front lines, but far enough away. That way, if the wolves decide to tear their way through the enemy in our direction, we have enough time to let Pixie know they're heading in our direction.
So she can put them in line.
And tell them to turn back around and go in the right direction, yes.
Okay, Pixie looks at the coordinates that you sent to her. Sticks her head through the portal that she opened earlier. Opens
you see a planet with tentacles growing out of it. It's a blacky red planet, and the tentacles seem to be, well, you see wrecks where spaceships used to be. They're just floating amidst the tentacles, and there seems to be demons roaming the planet.
From beyond the portal that she opened earlier, where her people are waiting, you hear an ear-splitting howl that seems to come out of thousands of throats. Before, even through the portal, you feel the vibration of tons of meat moving towards the new portal that is leading to that planet.
That planet's been giving us severe issues. It keeps spawning hordes of demons which are backing up the other planets in this sector, and we can't get close enough to the damn thing to destroy it.
Pixie kind of looks back at you over her shoulder. I think they are going to have fun.
Who, the demons or your canines?
Something comes flying back through the portal that she opened to send her canines through. And Pixie catches it and looks at it, then throws it over to you.
What exactly was thrown?
Do you catch it or not?
Yes.
In your hands, you see what looks to be a humanoid head with horns growing out of it and its tongue lolling out, so the lower jawbone missing.
Never mentioned they were humanoid, but I'll take it. You never asked what kind of demons they were, but
and
yeah.
You never elaborated on it, so I'm
No, good
taking
point.
DM liberty here.
Good point.
Also, I assume there are different kinds of demons, so...
Quite a few. Some of them are demonic titan-like entities, which are essentially, well, imagine a mechanical titan, but it's kind of made out of flesh and bone, and it uses biological weapons, like acid throwers, bone bullets, and giant claws, as well as spiky tentacles and even a jetpack that breathes out acidic spores instead of the usual propellant from an engine.
Anyhow, our dear Pixie looks at you, then looks at the head, then looks at your face again, and tilts her head and asks, "Satisfied?"
Satisfied? Although that wasn't the part of the plan he was worried about. It was more the fact that he has to go chat with Black Shadow. That's the bit he's most worried about, if I'm being entirely truthful.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Because he's about to talk to the embodiment of fear itself. At the last time he approached Black Shadow, he pissed himself.
And Pixie is immune to intimidation.
Yes.
This will be fun.
Yes.
I'll be right back. I kind of have to go answer nature's call. But are you satisfied so far with what Pixie's people can do in your dimension?
Yep. Admittedly, I was hoping for an even fight where both were at their most powerful, to have an epic battle to see if Pixie at level 20 can beat my level 11 Black Shadow. But I guess if we have to fight in that universe, then I don't really have much of a choice, do I?
First of all, Pixie still has to get him in there.
Good point.
And second of all, Pixie might be a brute, but she is by no means stupid. She knows that your Black Shadow has more experience than her.
Yep.
So
Which is why she's trying to get every advantage she can.
Exactly. Anyhow, be right back.
Yep. So yeah, folks, this will be an interesting fight. Either Black Shadow will be lulled into a sense of security and he'll end up in that pocket dimension, in which case the fight will last all of 10 seconds, or he'll see through the plot and might be able to avoid the gem, in which case it'll be quite the epic showdown. I wonder which one will happen. I personally have no idea, but I hope you guys have fun. I certainly know we will. What do you think, Ramo? Especially since apparently you hacked my ship without you or me knowing.
Yeah, that's the best part. I wasn't even aware of myself.
You must have done it in your sleep. Well, you are a genius, so...
Yeah, I mean, I'm good at it, but I wasn't aware that I'm that good.
Oh.
On the other
Life's
side,
full of surprises.
I mean, how does Solar Flare said you should fire the one who set your passwords? So maybe I hacked your ship because your password was password. Or something like this.
Considering that my ship is managed by an AI, I'm surprised it could even be hacked, considering that you'd be trying to hack a living entity. And my ship is controlled by a very, very advanced AI. So I'm just going to say it was a DM decision, that it was just convenient that I was hacked, personally.
Either that, or what could also be, we didn't hack your ship directly, but we hacked maybe a backup that your ship is making. I mean, if you want the data, don't go for the live server, go for the backup system. They're normally not as much protected.
Very true. See? What did I say, folks? Oh dear. So how do you think the fight's going to go? If it'll even be a fight?
I will lie back and let me be surprised.
Anyhow, I'm back.
Welcome back.
And Pixie closes the portal to wherever it is where she keeps her pack.
The meat locker, we've ended up calling it.
She turns around to you and pulls something out of her vest. She's wearing a leather vest.
Oh.
It is a little box packaged like a present with red wrapping paper and a yellow bow on top. Also, before I forget, this thing lay in front of my door this morning. And
how interesting.
According to the tag, it's for you.
They gave you a present for me?
She just shrugs and throws it over to you.
Catches it and holds it away from me so it's at arm's length. In fact, no. I put it on the floor in the center of my office, take a few steps back and open it via telekinesis. Because I don't trust this at all. I don't think anyone in their right mind would trust this.
Nothing happens, just the lid comes off.
Okay, what's inside it?
You will have to look, too.
I peek my head over.
Inside is a little purple gem. Just the size of your pinky.
I pick it up, or levitate it over.
And attached to it is a note.
I open it.
The note says, "This is me fulfilling my part of the pact."
Confused, because as far as he's concerned, if it did come from Mid, she's already fulfilled her part more than sufficiently. But he looks at the gem and tries to find out what it actually is, so sense any magic coming from it.
As you extend your magical senses, I need you to roll investigation.
15? Plus 1 maybe? Or 0?
Let me see your character sheet. 1 second. Characters. And there's Garius.
I have 5 points.
You need to roll a total score of 10.
Oh, well, I rolled 15.
You sense an immense magical power within.
What, like a battery?
You can't quite determine what it is. But from what you can tell, from what you can feel from the thing, you can determine that the power inside that gem is multitudes higher than what you possess yourself.
This is a bit better, but I place it on the back of my gauntlet. Let me guess, there's a slot on my gauntlet that this little gem fits in.
No.
Add 1 infinity stone to gauntlet.
No, there's not such a slot on your gauntlet.
I'll have to make one. Or make one for my other gauntlet. I have to. I wear power armor after all.
So, do you stick it in your pocket, or...?
I open a hatch on my breastplate and put it in there. It's sort of like a metal hatch, because a pocket in the middle of a battlefield, whatever's inside it is going to be mush.
Yeah.
So a metal plate gives it a bit more protection.
Yeah, okay.
And the chest plate of power armor is far more durable.
Exactly. So, any idea where this came from?
A friend of mine that is going through hard times.
You couldn't be any more cryptic, could you? Almost like my last
Have
boyfriend.
Well, last I checked, your parents, Lupina, Elysium, and Morphus suffer from the same issues. So
Don't get me started on Uncle Morphus. He's got another thing coming. Anyhow, shall we go?
Let's. I open a portal. Would you prefer to go to friendly space or straight
Yes.
into the jaws of death?
A friendly place first would be nice.
I open the portal and deciding to give you the almost VIP treatment. Do you mind if I take over for like the GM describing part of this just for a bit?
Go ahead.
Open the portal and I imagine we both walk through.
Mm-hmm.
As you leave the portal, you see a giant marble wall. You know, like the old Roman walls, but this is marble with golden trimming. There's big steel and gold gates with massive turrets lining the actual gatehouse. And these are proper, like, machine guns. These are Titan-grade weaponry on the gatehouse. And you see massive bipedal war machines patrolling the lower parts of the walls. And on the ramparts, you see artillery, missile launchers, and miniature Titans manning the top of the walls. And the road leading into the gate is actually big enough that you can travel an army through this road.
From beside you, you hear... Ooh.
Welcome to the Kingdom of Light. And as we walk forward, the doors open and you see the largest city you have ever seen in your life. We're talking everywhere you look, you can see to the horizon and you don't see the edge of the city.
Okay.
This city is bigger on the inside. Every time someone goes to quote-unquote heaven or the eternal herd, whatever you wish to call it, in this universe they come here, and the city constantly grows to make room for its new inhabitants. This city is infinitely massive. You could travel around this world, this city, for millions of years and still not see half of what it has to offer. This is my capital.
You hear a little scratching sound next to you.
I look.
You see Pixie sitting on her haunches with a notepad in her hand, writing something down.
Just smiles. To him, just walking through that gatehouse never gets old.
For her, she kind of wants to go there on vacation.
Well, she's welcome anytime.
So, where are we going?
Well, I didn't know where you wanted to go, so I thought I'd... Give me 1 second, someone just called.
Okay. So, Ramo, what do you think so far?
Like I said, we will see how it turns out. And with character sheet we can delete. And with character sheet we can delete after we are finished.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Apparently I misheard.
Okay.
There's quite a few words that rhyme with my name, and so whenever someone speaks loudly in this house and it rhymes with my name, I always think I'm being called. It's bloody annoying.
Yeah, well, I had a player playing Overwatch earlier who had my name 05 as his username.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you were saying?
He just looks at you. Well, I didn't know where you wanted to go when you said friendly territory. This is about as friendly a territory as you'll find. And it's within visual range of where you want to go. If you follow me, I take you into the tower of the gatehouse.
She follows you. Also, your wrist computer starts giving you notifications like non-stop.
Okay. I look at the first one.
First one reads, unidentified medical portal opened near front line.
I click authorized so that they don't get too finicky.
Okay.
And I look at the second one just because obviously I know what the portal was, so it's fine.
Second one, medical readings near the unknown portal off the charts.
I'll leave these notifications for later and inform command in a minute.
Okay.
So long as they're not rampaging through our lands, it should be fine.
Nah,
Fingers crossed.
they're not.
Although it's not like we're lacking in armaments on the front line in case they do charge us. I mean, I don't want to shoot friendlies, but at the very least, there's a lot of guns keeping demonic hordes from passing through our lines. So, at the very least, I don't think they'll crumple our lines if they travel in our direction.
No.
And definitely, but
Also,
fingers crossed.
Pixie kind of taps your shoulder.
Yep. I look down.
There's one last thing that I kind of wanted to tell you before we came here, but I kind of forgot.
What is it?
There is a sergeant on your crew, on your command ship. I think Camerton is his name.
Don't recall that name, but go on.
You should really, really go to the cafeteria at night. This guy is good. He can imitate you so well that the computer actually recognizes him as you.
Huh. I'm pretty sure he gave you a false name because we're a naval ship. We don't have sergeants up here.
Huh.
So I think he gave you the wrong name.
Well, but still, he runs a comedy show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at midnight in your cafeteria.
Well, so long as he doesn't pose a security risk, and so long as he keeps doing his job, I'll let it slide. But I will be looking at my logs more often now.
Well,
And I'll
if in your logs you see
security.
if in your logs you see a requisition for a giant strawberry cake, that was me asking him for it.
What is it with you, Lupin Arcane, and always seeming to get what you want?
She just grins at you.
Anyway, I click the top floor on the elevator, and when you reach the top, you see some of these demi-titans manning the walls. They stand about 5 meters tall, with heavy tank-level weaponry. But I point off to the distance, and in the very far distance on the horizon, the only reason you can see it at all is because of how high up we are, but you see a giant black mountain of a city. It's literally like skyscrapers upon skyscrapers upon skyscrapers in just this man-made mountain of, well, buildings that look like they shouldn't be in one piece. That is where he resides. The Black City, the Kingdom of Light, and the Neutral Kingdom all share a planet. We have front lines on the universe, but there's a common agreement that the war does not come to this planet. Or at the very least, no orbital forces are to take a direct role in the war for this planet.
She looks up at you, raising an eyebrow.
We have a few accords, as we kept trying to launch missiles from space towards them, and they kept trying to ram our city with ships going at light speed towards us. And to be fair, we were both getting sick and tired of constantly just repelling attacks that were never going to succeed. And they just kept getting in the way of trade. So we just decided we can all benefit from trade and simply fight the war elsewhere. That way we all get to actually receive supplies from outside of the planet, since our orbital capabilities are even. And we don't have to worry about our central command and control networks being bombarded from orbit. It's peace of mind.
She points at that black city and then looks up at you. So this is where that other fifth is residing.
Yes, but I wouldn't recommend you just walk in there, because all of the deities under his command are also there. I guarantee you this, no matter how powerful you think you are, you would not be walking through there in one piece.
Fair enough. Well, then I guess there is only one thing to do.
Lure him out.
Give me a moment. She closes her eyes, and you see her fur beginning to glow. And the glow starts to intensify.
I take a step back.
Good enough. Total score of 30.
Huh.
And from the direction where this city is, you suddenly see something that looks like an atomic mushroom.
You did not just unleash a nuke in the middle of their city, did you?
No. She opens her eyes and looks at you, the glow fading. I did something much more fun.
What did you do?
Are you familiar with the concept of astral projection?
Projection. Vaguely, it rings a bell.
I projected myself over there, however, in a corporeal form.
And then you blew up.
No. I blew up one of their generators. I don't think they liked it very much, actually.
Nope, I can't say they did.
Want me to do it again?
You see a very, very large cloud appear above the city, and now you can't see this mountain of a city. It's covered by black cloud. Because I think you've got his attention.
She rubs her paws together. Oh, goody!
Let's go. He shakes his head and regains his composure. He's been losing his composure a lot recently, he's noticed.
Pixie puts a paw on your shoulder.
I just take a deep breath out. Let's go.
You can roll magical defense if you want.
What is she trying to do?
Teleport.
Teleport? Oh, okay, I'll just let her teleport me. I don't know where she's taking me, but...
You are standing about 1 mile away from the Black City.
I look up at the giant cloud and go, okay.
And you see a manic grin. You see a manic grin on Pixie.
Is she with me?
Yes. She's right next to you.
Okay. Black Shadow's going to do a magical roll. He's going to do his own teleportation.
Okay.
Oh, 6. Plus, I think it's 13. Is it 13 if he has... no, I think it's 11 if he has it maxed out.
Let's have a look.
It's 11. 10.6 is as high as it goes.
Well, you still succeed.
He basically teleports us to the moon, which strangely has an atmosphere.
Pixie looks around and is kind of like, nice.
And when you look away from the planet, you see 2 Earth-sized flaming red eyes looking at you.
She kind of rolls her eyes at the eyes, saying nothing.
And they just stare at her. And then stare at me. And now I'm going to have to roll a magical attack against myself. Okay.
Now you know how I feel.
Okay, his magical attack rolled a 3 plus 11, and my magical defense is something. So is that 11 against 11?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, crap.
So
What happens if it's an impasse on a... Okay.
Nothing happens. You basically fend it off.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
But what was he trying to do?
He was basically trying to use a madness spell on Garius to make him just lose track of reality and make him relive all of his nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Basically turn him into a gibbering wreck.
And Pixie just looks at you curiously. Did something just happen?
Garius looks to you and goes, he's back up to his old tricks again, although he seems to be a bit rusty. A madness spell. Be very careful. Most of his attacks target the mind. He doesn't kill you physically as he does mentally.
Her grin goes impossibly wide. Showing all of her teeth. And kind of like an excited little filly, she hops from paw to paw.
And actually, that's a point. I'm going to roll a d20, but can Pixie roll a perception check?
Sure.
God, a 3. That is crap. This is a stealth check.
4.
4. I don't know what her bonuses to perception is. But I don't even think it actually says on yours, but how is it calculated? If someone has 20 stealth and 20 brawl, which I think you said was the physical defense, was the thing for stealth. How much bonus do they actually get?
Stealth is a stat in and of itself.
Well, he has 20 stealth, and I don't know how much she has in perception. I think she doesn't have that much, 10?
She has 10.
So she doesn't see this individual
then? She only doesn't see him if he takes corporeal form and tries to hide from her. If those giant
it's an
eyes...
ethereal. This isn't him. This is the other character sheet that we have.
Ah, you're a Reaper.
My world's version of Elysium is basically watching the battle to make sure things don't get out of hand. But ultimately, he's just staying at a distance.
Okay.
Very curious entity, and he prefers to keep the balance of life and death equal. And an entity from another universe just challenged to the 5th. To kind of see his worry.
Yes.
But yeah, he's harmless. I just wanted to know if Pixie saw him or not. Anyway, the second thing that the Black Shadow's going to do is he's going to cast he's going to cast a disruption ability to try and disrupt magic items. Because no one's this confident facing down 2 planetary eyes unless they have something up their sleeve. And the last time someone tried to use holy weapons on him, well, they basically used a magical bow in his eye. And since how big his eyes are, it's impossible to miss.
1 second.
Oh, geez, 20. Because one of the Kingdom of Light's best assassins tried to assassinate him with holy weapons. Didn't succeed, but certainly made him wary of holy weapons.
So
we've tried assassinating him with holy weapons before, and he doesn't recognize her, and the fact that I've told him about this Cthulhu entity.
Mm-hmm.
I never gave him an explanation of what Cthulhu looked like. So as far as he's concerned, I've just sent Cthulhu against him. Because he doesn't actually know what she looks like.
You do realize that Pixies...
I never told him how powerful she was either. Don't forget, this is Black Shadow. He's never seen Pixie Cotton before.
You do realize that Pixie's gauntlet is not simply a magical item, right? But okay.
That wasn't. It was more to see if she had any enchanted items or gems or weapons or armor or stuff like that. Anything that might be holy in nature.
Does he know? He sees nothing holy on her.
You didn't see anything holy on the last assassin that tried either, but with gods you can never tell. They might have a bigger on the inside pocket that he doesn't know about. He's careful. He's not stupid. I mean, bigger on the inside pockets aren't uncommon among deities.
Pixie, of course, notices that there was just a spell cast on her.
And me.
And you.
My power armor powers down because it has a magical battery.
Actually, it does not power down.
Oh, awesome. Excellent. Wasn't expecting that.
I am, as the GM, telling you it is not powering down.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Cool. So what does happen then with his attack?
Well, from the way you described the spell to me, it is basically an investigation spell to see if Pixie has anything.
It more disrupts magical items or magical items that can be disrupted. It's kind of like an EMP, but for magical items.
Yeah, let's just say this does not work on her gauntlet.
Okay.
Because her gauntlet is not an enchanted item.
Ah.
It is an item that holds power. Kind of like a soul jar.
Ah.
Which is also why you could nuke the thing and it wouldn't take a scratch.
She might, though.
She might, so, yeah. However, she scowls at the two eyes in the sky and does something herself.
And what might that be?
She howls at him.
Oof. Does he have a chance to evade? Can he do an evasion check? Or attempt?
We don't really have an evasion stat, that's the thing.
Well, we can do dexterity check.
Go ahead.
I mean, imagine this. You can see both of these planet-sized eyes, which means he's probably a few kilometers away.
Do a dexterity check.
9 plus whatever his... Actually, that's a point. Does he even have dexterity? He probably doesn't, knowing me.
You have 4.
He actually has 1. He has 1 dexterity point.
And I'm giving you a maximum score that you would have needed of 12.
Oh. Awesome.
Means you're 2 points short.
Yep. So he gets hit. And I guess I need to give you a picture of what he might look like, just so that you can probably explain it to the audience, as I'm terrible at it.
Actually, since I'm recording my screen, if you send me pictures, I will be able to see it. Send it in the dice roll chat, then they can see it.
I don't think that he can send pictures there, only a link.
Yeah, then send it to me privately and I'll just switch to that conversation for a moment. That's the physical form you've chosen? Okay. So everyone just look at the right side of my screen right now. That is the physical form of Black Shadow. Luna? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
That's the physical form of Black Shadow. It's basically the fire is because he doesn't have a physical form for the magic to take a shape in, so it's kind of just burning up. It's kind of like if you just, shoved magic together like a diamond and just watched the random energy burn itself and just fry everything near it. It's a very unstable body of magic, essentially. Highly unstable, incredibly volatile, and he has virtually no control over what happens to it.
And
he can only unleash his energy in a chaotic manner now.
And your Black Shadow is now forced into this form.
Yep, and he's probably in a lot of pain.
Yes. And not only that, but you're also caught in the gravitational field of the planet.
Yep, he's still about the size of Asia, though. So he's a continent-sized creature still, but he's far smaller than he was.
And Pixie looks up at you, grinning widely.
It glares at Pixie.
I mean,
and in a guttural...
I mean at Garius.
Oh, she glares at me? Why does she glare at me?
She looks up at you.
Oh. I look back down at her. I've never seen that before. Don't know whether to feel good or bad. Is he more or less dangerous now? Because he certainly looks a whole lot less stable.
And that's where Pixie's grin grows so wide that you can see her back teeth. And you were saying the fifth wanted to say something?
He glares down at Pixie Cotton and goes, "Now you've got on my nerves."
And she looks up at him and says, in a very chipper tone of voice, "I actually didn't want to get onto your nerves, but you know what? I think I'll take it."
What does she do following this proclamation?
She puts a hand on your shoulder. Again, not a hand, a paw.
She's not an anthro yet.
And she attempts a teleport.
With a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have to roll anything?
Only if you want to prevent her from teleporting you.
Then yes. Well, my bonus is plus 11, so my total score was 20.
Mine is also plus 11, so it's 13. And so you, Garius, stay behind on the moon, while Pixie appears on the fifth's head.
The fifth goes a bit cross-eyed, trying to look at her.
She mutters, "Well, that didn't quite go as planned."
Is it his turn now?
Mm-hmm.
Because from what you've told me, he can still cast magic.
For now.
Did your mother ever tell you to say it, not spray it? Now, he basically shoves the smoke coming off his body into her mouth and solidifies it into a giant lump of coal. And then proceeds to telekinetically shove it down her throat.
Please do a magic check.
$20.
You are kidding me.
And you got a 5. Her throat's gonna hurt.
Pixie swallows that. Then, how to put this? Shakes herself.
I could not have tasted it good.
Looks down at the fifths. Leans over so she can actually look into one of his eyes. And did your mother never tell you not to give people stuff to eat that's gross?
I ate my mother. What's your excuse?
I'm going to do a magic check. I don't care.
And I'll roll magical defense. 13.
I've got a
So
7.
11, that's 20. So, I'm guessing... Actually, that's because I don't know how much magical defense he has.
Your magical defense is...
His defense is a lot less than offense.
I know.
I think it's 5 he has. For his
Yeah,
magical
basically
defense.
I just have to look at Pixie's stats because you have the same number in terms of intelligence. It's 5.
Yep.
So your medical
so mine
defense...
is 18 and yours is 18 because it's plus 11.
Yeah. So what basically
So
happens
cancels
is...
out.
Not quite cancels out, but the spell doesn't go where it is intended to.
Uh-oh.
Instead of shoving a giant cupcake in your mouth, it just appears in front of it.
And just drops to the ground and just splats.
It's actually entering orbit, falling towards the city of Dark.
Huh. Free food.
Basically. And Pixie sighs and is just like, why can't Rose be here? She's much better at summoning cupcakes.
You wanted to give me a snack. Grabs her and shoves her in my mouth. Into my burning, flaming mouth.
Do a brawl
lightning
check,
coming out of it.
please.
Yep. I'll roll that. That's a d20. Got 15. I have a terrible brawl score.
That is a total brawl of 39.
Holy crap.
As your fifth attempts to grab Pixie, she simply pushes his fingers apart and frees herself, running up his arm.
Releases all... Okay, let's see, that's a point. He's made of smoke, not that, damn it. Whose turn is it actually? Because we seem to be taking turns one action after one action.
Yeah, right now it would be yours. I'm waiting for your
Is it?
reaction, but you're echoing again, Garius.
I'll move to another chat for a second.
Better.
Awesome. He will attempt to return to his shadow form.
I can already tell you that that's not possible right now.
How long does he have until he can?
Wait.
Because with Lupiner, you said it would only last for a split second.
With Morphus, actually, yes.
And he's a bit more than a Morphus.
Yes, but we are talking about not Lupina, the Avatar of War, using it against the Avatar of Insanity. We are talking again about a fifth who is...
using it on another fifth.
Using it on another fifth. So you have at least 5 more turns before you can turn back.
Then she's still cupped within my hand. She's just moved my fingers apart, correct?
No.
Or did she jump out of that?
She has actually freed herself and is running up your arm right now. Towards your neck.
Okay. He turns his entire body into one massive bonfire, so that every single square inch of his body is just a raging inferno. His version of a fire cloak. 19.
Actually, I'm not going to roll magical defense.
Dexterity.
No, I'm going to counter this.
By dunking him with water.
Because you're using magic right now.
Indeed.
Pixie has rolled a 17. She does not defend herself against your fiery thingy. What she does is... You're made of smoke, right?
Rock, oak, raw magic, and lightning. There's a lot of charcoal, rock there as well.
She takes out the gem that her father gave her. One of them, at least. The red one. And presses it.
Will it not be damaged in the fire?
She will be damaged in the fire.
I mean, the gem.
No,
it's being hit by a magical attack, unless she's shielding it with her own body.
The gem itself will not be damaged. Pixie will be. I'm rolling for that damage in a moment. However, our dear Pixie is burning herself by pressing that gem against your smoky skin. And then opening its portal.
Can he attempt to escape? Or resist?
Roll Brawl.
Brawl? Thought it'd been like a magic to evade going through a portal.
In this case, she's basically pressing it against you. So this is physical.
6. Well, I'd have thought resist the magic, but never mind.
20.
The portal's magical by nature, not physical by nature, but...
But the gem is physical.
Magical.
And now let's roll the damage. You had a 19 on that. That is that. Let me get up my calculator real quick. Wait, let me have a look. 5 plus 9. 3, so I get 2 damage. So Pixie is down to 15 hit points. And she's very angry at you because you seared off her leather jacket.
And I'm guessing Garius isn't in the portal with you. He was just kind of staring, thinking, what the hell?
Basically, yes. He's watching as this giant being made out of smoke, charcoal, and rock is being pulled into that portal. And Pixie then slips in behind that thing, closing the gate behind her. With the red gem just
Tilts his head.
with the red gem just floating in space.
I attempt to levitate it over to me.
It does slowly come over to you.
I try and look into the gem to see if I can see what's going on.
You can't. You could open it, but you can't look inside.
He was about to put his hand on it to do it, but then he thought, would this release them both? Or would it not? And
Technically, yes.
So he's currently umming and ahhing whether he should try and back her up by touching the gem, but he's in indecision. He's debating whether he should or shouldn't touch the gem.
You have to open it. You can touch it, but to open it, you have to want to open it.
Well, he's currently deciding on whether he wants to open it or whether that would be a very bad idea.
That's your decision.
Well, he does nothing on his turn, so I don't know whose turn it is after his. Is it Pixies
it would be your fifth.
Shadows?
It would be Shadow's turn.
Okay, Black Shadow.
And you find yourself.
Looking around.
You find yourself on a pure white plain with a pure white sky, with not even a single indentation in the ground. Everything is just smooth. And in front of you stands a very burnt-looking, but still smirking, Pixie Cotton.
He starts to smirk.
I wonder what he is to smirk
play
about.
with light, little pup. Let me show you what happens when you play with fire. He turns himself into a small sun, basically just expanding his magic in all directions in a fire spell.
I have to meep you there.
Oh yeah, no magic, is it? It's an anti-magic place.
You try to do it, and then your character suddenly notices that he can't.
Okay, now his eyes bulge out of his head.
And Pixie's smirk just grows wider. Any reaction from your fifth?
Give me a second.
I'll give you actually a minute because I'll be right back. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
For the audience, I have muted my mic so they can't hear me right now. Let's just say Garius' fifth is fucked.
That's a good point. Because he says that I can't cast spells, but I cast my fire cloak before I entered. And if it dispels magical effects, would it also dispel the Howl's effect, meaning that he's back in his mist form? Because if it dispels one, it should dispel the other, unless he's got a loophole. What do you think, Ramo?
I have no idea how it works. He's the GM.
Yeah.
I would say if no magic in this universe exists, then every magic effect that should disappear.
Including the Howl's effect, I imagine.
Depends.
Because it's magically compressing the magic in.
Is it holding because there is still magic holding this effect up, or is it holding because
yes,
it affects? Okay, then it should
like
be
a
away.
magnetic field keeping plasma in check, kind of.
Then it should be away too.
Because obviously, like I said, he doesn't have a physical form. He's stuck in his physical form due to the magic of her howl. And it's that residual magic from her howl, at least that's how I understand it, that's keeping him physically as he is. Because this isn't his natural form. If all magical effects are indeed gone, then he would no longer resemble what he does now. He would resemble a giant red eye. In which case, he's going to grow in size rapidly. Because you know when you compress carbon into diamond, it gets really, really small? Well, that's kind of what he's done to his magical body. Just compressed him.
So basically, we are now facing Sauron's eyes that is rapidly expanding.
Expanding ridiculously quickly, and I hope your dimension is big enough to hold him. Otherwise, he might just crack your dimension in two. Like I said, this guy's about the size of Jupiter in his entirety.
It goes on for several light years in each direction.
Oh, okay, then. Then I know exactly what he's going to do, then.
Well, I can tell you right now what will very likely happen if he transforms into a giant eye.
She will poke the eye?
Before that.
Because I think I have an idea of what he can do. Because he is an incredibly strong entity, and now he's a lot bigger. His eyes are going to close and basically go inside of his actual mist body, and his mist body is just going to hurl itself away at top speed. And because he doesn't have a physical body, there's no drag. He's simply just going to essentially
He can't
mist it.
He can't go into his mist body because no magic.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, let's put it this way. Either
also, he's still forced in a physical form. You have 3 more turns.
I may ask this question because I actually said this while you were gone to Ramo, but is he still on fire, covered by that inferno? Because you say there's no magic,
the fire
but the
is
howl is magic.
The fire is going out.
Then so should the howl technically, because the howl is keeping him only there because of the magic of the howl.
But
if there's no magic in this area, then the howl should recede, surely.
But if you were to change form, that would be magic.
So basically, he's just going to disappear into nothingness because he can't return to his natural form and he can't stay in this one.
He is basically forced to stay in this physical form for now.
Okay, I can't say I understand the logic, but...
The logic is this. He was forced into this physical form before he went into this dimension.
He also summoned his flames before that dimension, and most cloaking spells last a while. But...
Which is why I said the flames are slowly dying out.
Ah, I thought they'd be gone by her turn. I'm like, so he's defenseless then, with nothing he can do.
No,
then he's just going to
He has
The only thing he
10
can do.
turns. He has 10 turns before the flames are gone.
Oh, okay then. I thought you were basically saying, next turn you're going to be completely defenseless and I'm just going to one-shot you. Good luck.
Hey, I'm not that much of an asshole of a GM, am I?
No.
Yeah, quite seriously. I'm asking you right now. I'm usually a very fair GM.
Very fair, yes.
So, by the way, it would be Garius's turn now.
Okay. Garius is going to try and open the gem.
A little portal opens. Just big enough for you to peek through.
I look through it.
You see Pixie's backside and your fifth's slowly losing its power.
Cocks my head and decides to close the portal, since Pixie's probably better without magic than he is without magic.
Exactly.
And there's very little Garius can do without magic, since he's not a fighter. He'd only get in the way or be used as a hostage. Which is kind of the reason why he never wanted to be a part of this in the first place.
Which would make this Reaper's turn.
The Reaper is just observing again. He's going to see who comes out of that gem.
What is he thinking right now?
He's basically thinking, if she dies in this universe, that is going to disturb my balance. I'm going to have to find a way to send her soul back to her universe after I resurrect her. Or if he wins, I'm going to have to keep him in check to make sure that he doesn't rampage. This puppy is making my life difficult. I hope for her sake she doesn't disappoint me. She's going back to her universe, but she's not going back in one piece.
He would then have to deal with Midnight.
A fight between him and Midnight would be one-sided in the extreme. He's got nearly double her level, and he's dedicated as a 1v1 combatant, with or without magic. Not to mention he's ethereal, she's not.
She'd find a way. Anyhow, now is Pixie's turn again.
Yep. I thought you were giving me 60 seconds to say what my fifth would do before you left.
Go ahead.
Because he has virtually no dexterity, but he does have a strength check. So what I'm just going to try and do is utilize my massive size and basically try and belly flop her. Just use my mass and smother her in fire.
Okay.
And because I'm quite large, if I basically just try and engulf her in my physiology, might have a chance.
Do a magic...
17. And this isn't really a brawl check, it's a fall check. So with this... Oh, I don't know.
It's a strength check.
Strength.
How much strength do you have?
20.
Okay. That means your total result is 37, while mine is 27.
So I fall on her.
You do fall on her.
This is that fat guy trying to crush the little guy in, I think it's Austin Powers. Just belly flop.
Yeah, stuff like I do when I have to fight. However, no, seriously, my motto is, I can't run, I fight. Okay, that'll be interesting.
How does this go then?
That means...
I honestly don't know what happens next.
Pixie takes 5 damage. But you also take 5 damage.
Well, yeah, I fell on the ground and I'm not exactly light.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
down to
going
12 hit points then.
down to 10.
12. I don't think I've taken damage before now, have I?
No, I'm down to 10.
I was about to say,
down to
my
10.
character's down to 12, I think. Because 17 minus 5 is 12. So you're down to 10, I'm down to 12.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Ah, cool. Sorry, things cut out on occasion and I might miss a word.
Which would
So, my
then make
apologies.
this Pixie's turn.
And Black Shadow's down to 12, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pixie, now trapped beneath you,
And suffocating on smoke, I imagine, considering he's constantly on fire.
that's not so much affecting her. She's a fifth, remember?
Good point.
She doesn't have to breathe if she doesn't want to.
Ah, that's a good bonus.
However, she turns around onto her back and attempts to punch her way through you.
This is an endurance run. Can she punch me to death before I burn her to death?
Basically, we both now have to roll Brawl.
Oh, my worst skill. 17. If she crit fails, I'm gonna laugh. Nope,
15. Now, my score, where is it? My attack is 10.
My attack is 10.
Which makes this 25.
Physical defense is 3.3.
Your physical defense is 3.3, which makes this a 3. So you have a total score of 20, which is a difference of 5. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, means you take 3 damage.
Okay, I'm down to 9.
And Pixie climbs out on your back.
Climbs out of my back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think 3 damage or 2 damage. I think 3 damage, would that be enough to climb through what is likely kilometers of coal and fire?
Likely.
He's not small.
On the other side, she's small, and even times 2, it's only small holes she's making.
Exactly. And you must imagine that she's basically Supermaning through you. One paw extended. So she's now standing on your back, shaking her fur and looking down at you and be like, "Falling on me? Really?"
I'm gonna fall backwards on it now.
Are you trying to roll over?
Yeah, I'm gonna Snorlax her.
Do a brawl check.
Well, you've kind of reduced him to the absurd. There's nothing more he can do. Flipping hell, 19. Can he do other than the absurd?
15.
I
So,
think we both have the same strength check.
it's brawl.
For rolling over?
Yes. You're physically attacking her. The earlier one was you falling.
True. So I basically try and roll my fat ass on her, and she just holds me up.
We now have a total score of... Your brawl is 5, right?
5, and my attack is 10.
So, no, attack is only really needed for your damage calculation, but brawl...
Give me a sec, Thiese ready. I'm just going to be back in about 10 seconds or so.
Okay. But that would basically mean that Gary is at the fifth's total score is 24, while Pixie's total score is 35. What do you say to this situation, Ramo?
Funny fight. Don't think it was how anyone wasn't.
I didn't really expect him to try to crush her. Not really.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay.
But yeah, guys, in the comments down below, how do you think this will go? By the time you listen to this, we will already know the conclusion. But yeah, this fight so far is shaping up to be very interesting. Very interesting. And what would Ramo do if he was now in Pixie's situation? Prof? Hello?
Not pick the fight in the first place?
Oh, why not?
I'm nearly not good enough prepared for something like this. He burned his paws once. I don't think he's dumb enough to do it again without better preparation.
Sorry about the wait. I also had to answer the alluring call of Mother Nature herself.
Ah.
So, I tried to Snorlax her, and I'm pretty sure she just threw me off. Or what happened?
Your total score is 24. Hers is 35.
Oh, it was close.
35.
35, against 24, is it? Or
Mm-hmm. So you attempt to roll over, but she stomps down one of her paws, keeping you in place. Would you please roll physical defense?
five. Gonna hurt.
Okay, physical attack of 21 against... What was your defense again?
My physical defense is 3. He's probably dead this turn or next turn.
That is a difference of 18 divided by 2. And you have your damage.
Well, the 5th is dead. One of my favourite characters in my universe. reduced to little more than a joke.
He wasn't a
I'm
joke.
starting to regret having...
You what?
I'm using this Wild World RP as an extension of my world's canon, since it's not really going anyplace. And I expected a somewhat more dignified end for him, but the fifth end is the fifth end.
Don't worry, we will do something more later, okay?
Okay.
Anyhow, our dear Pixie, before your fifth actually dies, bites him.
Bites the still flaming shard coal entity.
Mm-hmm.
That is both going to hurt and suck.
Hey, for Rosalia, it likely wasn't very pleasant to bite a giant spider whose blood then flowed into her mouth.
Have you ever eaten a char-grilled burger? As in a burger with charcoal around the edges?
Yes.
It was not pleasant for me. I don't know if it was any more pleasant for you.
No.
In fact, it was quite likely one of the most unpleasant things I've ever put in my mouth.
Roasted spider was...
The worst thing was TCP, I think it was. It's a disinfectant. I was told to mouthwash with it. The moment it went in my mouth, I puked.
Ooh. But yeah, Pixie now absorbs your fifth's power.
Which is both him and Amorphous.
Mm-hmm. And on Garius's turn, he feels the gem in his power armor vibrate and the one in his arm jiggle a little, like moving around.
Steps away. Steps away from it. And tries to examine what's going on with the one in his power armor breastplate. He opens up the capsule bit, letting it out.
It projects a little window in midair, like a little image, showing Pixie Cotton standing on the corpse of the fifth, spitting out charcoal.
Eyes sort of goes wide. She actually did it? Never thought I'd see the old bastard go.
And then
He grins.
Then her eyes seem to focus on you, and she cocks her head and is like, "Are you going to let me out now or what?"
I flow my magic into the gem and let her out.
She comes out of there, and right on her toes is the soul of the fifth, entering your world's afterlife.
Wait, who's entering my world's afterlife?
The soul of the now killed fifths.
Okay. I thought she destroyed his soul. That would have started a fight.
No, she didn't.
Then with that, I'm going to say that she sees Reaper at this point, just a cloaked skeleton with a scythe, with pure black eyes, with smoke coming out the bottom of the cloak, and he's just staring. Then he nods and just fades into the blackness of space.
To which she would raise a claw at him and be like, "1 second there, please."
He reappears right in front of her.
"Can you tell me who's your tailor? Because I kind of want a cloak like that."
He holds out his his hand. You know when you like hold out your hand, but it's facing down, so that someone can place their hand face up below it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's doing.
Okay.
Does she place her hand underneath his?
Mm-hmm.
In her hand is a cloak like his. It's not erupting mist, it's just a black cloak that would fit quite comfortably an 8-foot tall human.
Thank
He stands
you.
about...
And she attempts to give him a hug.
As she tries to give him a hug, she just goes through him and realizing that he's practically a ghost. And thus physical contact is practically impossible.
And she then looks at Garius, cocks her head, and says, "You know some interesting people. Also, who is this guy?"
That's Reaper, my world's version of Elysium. And Reaper just floats and just turns. A pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine. Pretty sure you would like to meet our Elysium. Though she might think that you need to eat a little bit more.
I tire of this. And he leaves.
I have a feeling
He
would...
doesn't have a sense of humour. He entirely lacks a sense of humour.
And your wrist computer starts rapidly beeping.
I check it again.
You see 2,500 unread notifications.
I read the latest one.
The latest one reads, "Enemy forces have stopped moving, awaiting orders."
Problem is, they won't be without leadership for long because it's a might makes right society and the strongest guys just died. They're going to have another leader within 24 hours. So, this is kind of where having massive wolves like that is a bad thing because now they can't push forward past the massive wolves.
That is actually not a problem.
Let me guess, they'll just advance faster.
The massive wolves have not advanced in the direction of your people.
Well, we'll follow and advance where there aren't wolves, because a universe is a very, very large place. So where there aren't wolves, we'll be advancing ourselves, I think. And he orders all men outside of the sector where the wolves are to push their advance as far as they can. Keep going until they can go no further.
And another one of your notifications reads that at least 4 planets have been completely wiped of enemy forces.
Smiles. This is the most progress we've ever had, actually. Looks to Pixie Cotton. Thank you very much. Once the enemy has been dealt with, which I imagine won't be too long now, I'll make sure to send additional forces in the direction of your fight. Or your mother's fight.
Thank you. And she reaches out a paw to you.
He shakes it as well.
Was a pleasure working with you. And what do you say we now have a celebratory cake?
Definitely. Would you like to have it here or back home? And by here I mean in the kingdom. He points to the city that she wanted to vacation in.
She kind of flips a green gem in her in her paw. Well, Once the war's over, I'll come here for vacation. Maybe for 100 years or so?
As long as you want. We're not lacking for space.
And then she lets the gem drop on the ground, and a portal opens for the two of you.
And I'll make sure that you all get the VIP section of the city.
Well, thank you. And she walks through the portal.
I do as well.
You end up back in your office.
Awesome. I was halfway expecting it to be Celestia's bedroom or bathroom or something.
No, it's your office, but Pixie is nowhere to be seen. She
gets back to the mountains of paperwork that he's got to do now. Most people would celebrate. He does paperwork.
Actually, you see that your inbox is empty.
That confuses him.
And your finished box is full.
That is even more confusing. He checks latest bits in the inbox just to make sure that it has indeed been done. And someone didn't just put clear on.
You see that
he doesn't trust it.
The latest thing on your finished pile is a requisition form for supplies on the front lines. And it has been signed by Miss Midnight.
I'm almost tempted to assume that her and Pixie were in league on this. That
Maybe
was
they
way
were.
too coordinated.
Maybe they were. They wanted to do you a favor.
Yeah.
And I think Garius appreciates said favor.
Oh, definitely. He's a bit too in shock right now to really focus on it. Because, see, this is the insane part of it. But he's been fighting a war against the Fifth for so long, and he's so used to it, that he almost sees his enemy almost like a friend at this point. They're familiar with each other. They're familiar with how they fight each other. They're vicious enemies that plot each other's demise all day, every day. But he never thought it would actually come. And he's kind of in shock.
What will your men say?
What? About his state of well-being?
No, about the defeat of the Fifths.
Oh my god, there's going to be celebrations, the morale is going to be sky high. It's going to be absolute chaos. And I tell you one thing for a fact. The strength of the changelings on the front line are going to dramatically skyrocket as the celebrations begin. Because there's going to be plenty of love to go around. And I imagine the changelings won't exactly be sitting idle by and let it go to waste.
No, not really. Will any of your guys want to know how it happened?
My OC will definitely be asking about the nature of how it happened and can we be sure that he's dead. I think the neutral kingdom would probably not become neutral anymore, considering that the only reason they're neutral is because they didn't want to pick a fight with the Fifth. So the neutral kingdom will now join our fight. That does leave one problem, though, because there's one vessel in my universe that I didn't want to bring into this RP because it's too overpowered. And now I kind of don't have a logical reason to not bring it in. It's, yeah, it's a Murian battleship.
No, what I meant,
Imagine
your men on your ship.
they'll, well, once the word reaches them, they'll have a celebration or two on board. But when it's their shift, they'll be as professional as if nothing's changed. But in their free time, they're going to be celebrating.
And how will they react?
It's going to be a There's going to be a constant party as the night shift celebrates, and then the day shift, when their turn ends, they're going to celebrate. So it's just going to be a 24-hour party in the mess hall.
And how will they react when Pixie pops in to take part in the celebration?
They will toast to Pixie and give her a drink on the house.
Sounds like a plan.
Or 7. As many as she can drink.
Sounds like a plan, but Pixie's kind of a lightweight. Anyhow, shall we end it here?
Yep, sure.
Okay, so everyone, Pixie now has been strengthened as well. And Garius has lost one of his worries.
Indeed. Although he's strangely saddened, even though he has no reason to be sad. I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I think he has been fighting the Fifth for so long that now he's kind of lost.
He's lost his purpose. The war, his war, has been his motivating factor since, well, practically since he was born. And he's probably as old as, the 5 are. He might be a bit older or he might be a bit younger, but imagine living for billions of years and then having that purpose that you've had for all that time gone.
Well, he can now direct his attention to the Overmother.
That's actually not his primary goal right now. His next priority is killing off Cthulhu and pursuing his romantic interests now. Basically, he has to find Mid and then get her and Miss Midnight in the same room, and he's going to talk about how he feels, because he doesn't know for the faintest clue what he's supposed to do with these feelings. And he can't do that until Cthulhu's dead. In fact, I've got to tell you now, actually, but
I'm going to stop the recording.
Definitely.